Hello, underachievers. So, back in my day, when I was a young boy, way back in the day, like I'm way older than you, I'm way more advanced at this.
Hi, old.
I'm joking, obviously. Back in the day, when I was really young and insecure, I revolved my entire life about being able to pass. I had such strong gender dysphoria. Every day was a nightmare. I hated who I saw in the mirror, hated my reflection. I could not stand myself. To be completely honest, I promise you this is going somewhere. Before I was able to transition, to come out, start testosterone, to get top surgery, I did everything in my power that I could to pass to the outside world, because if I could do anything that could maybe get in... Oh, I don't remember how I started that sentence, but I liked it. Before I was able to come out and transition socially and medically, you know, getting testosterone, getting top surgery, coming out to my friends and family, I did everything in my power that I could to appear as male to the world. That was just the most important thing to me at that time, because being trans ruined my life at that point. And I know that sounds ridiculous. It sounds like an exaggeration. And for some people, that's not true. For some trans people, that's not true. For me, that was the truth. My dysphoria, for as long as I can remember, was a big no-no. It was just balls. It sucked. I didn't have balls and it sucked. And I'm sure that many of you that are watching this right now are in the exact same position now that I was in 10 years ago. That's, oh god, I'm gonna gag. 10 years? I just want to say to those of you that are going through that right now, I promise you, I know it sounds horrible saying it. It sounds horrible. Like, obviously, things are not gonna be like this forever. You will not always feel this way. You will be able to find a way that you can be comfortable with yourself. And that may have to come with, you know, finishing school. It may have to come with, you know, moving out of a unsupportive environment. It may have to do with just like a little bit of confidence in yourself. I promise you, you will get there. But today's video, I remember when I was growing up on the internet, you should stream that. I would look for passing tips. I would look for little things that I could do in my day-to-day life that would help me pass, you know, cutting my hair a certain way, wearing specific clothes, being rude to women. I remember I'd be dysphoric about the way that I walked, and the way that I stood, and the way that I held myself. And those are all valid feelings, but I'm sure the advice that I got back then, was not very helpful. I made a video about passing tips. I don't know if the video is still up, and I don't know if I would approve of the tips that I gave out yet. But, recently, I was tagged in a similar kind of thing. Somebody had put on TikTok actually helpful passing tips for trans guys. I haven't really looked at the tips in much detail. I kind of just skimmed through it. There is a little surprise in there that I'm very excited to show you guys. But I just thought it'd be interesting to see if, you know, in the 10 years since my time, I just wanted to see how different things were. I want to see if the advice has changed. I know in the last 10 years, a lot has happened. Gender roles, in terms of like men being feminine, women being masculine, it is a lot more accepting nowadays. I would just like to say that Harry Styles would not be wearing a dress in the way that he was back then. I know I'm saying back then, I don't mean to be patronizing. I'm just very aware that I'm 24.
Oh my god, you're 60 years old!
And not in the same position I was when I started this YouTube channel. Fashion has changed a lot in the past 10 years. What's societally acceptable has changed a lot in the past 10 years, and I kind of just want to dive right into it. Before I do that, I do just want to say something. If you're upset by any of these tips, if you're hurt, if you're like offended, that's fine. Your feelings are valid, I would say. I would also say, do not go and harass this guy. Do not go and harass this person. He's literally like 15 or 16, which is like around the same age that I was when I was making this kind of content. This is just a TikTok of a guy that's like genuinely trying to be helpful. Whether or not the advice is like good advice, that's a different thing, and I guess we'll get into that. But again, like, this is not like, it's all well-intentioned. Please do not. Please do not. So here we go. Actually helpful passing tips for trans guys. As a trans guy who passes. Starting off at the obvious place, clothes. How does clothing affect how you pass? So the advice here is, if you want a stylized outfit, then wear baggier clothes in that style. Although don't go more than 2 sizes more than your normal size, as it can have the opposite effect. I guess this kind of depends entirely on like what stage of your transition you're in. If you're pretty early on in your transition and, you know, you're still binding, or for whatever reason you're not able to get top surgery, I would say yeah, like baggier shirts. Good advice. It's easier to hide your chest when you're not wearing little Twinkie t-shirts. Definitely, I would say that's good advice. And obviously there's like the whole Y2K revival thing going on right now, where like baggy jorts, baggy jeans, baggy t-shirts, baggy everything, big old big fat shoes, they're in fashion right now, so you would not be looking out of place if you wore real baggy stuff. Baggy trousers can also help hide the hips, like the wider hips that you feel like you want to hide. So I'd say, yeah, good advice, and also make sure they're not too baggy. Incredible, incredible advice. I wish I had that advice. I remember a lot of the advice when I was younger is like, don't wear baggy because it makes you look small, and you don't want to look small because you're a tiny petite little freak trans guy. But yeah, I would say please don't wear clothes that are way too big, because they will drown you and they will make you look smaller, and you probably don't want to be smaller if if your intention is entirely just to pass. Good start. Love that. More clothing advice. If you don't mind what you wear, wearing the same clothes cis guys wear works the best at helping you pass. I like this. If you don't mind what you wear, and you just want to look like a boy, yeah, that's so real. I also, when I was a teenager, I would just, I would look at what other boys wore. I would look at what emo boys wore specifically, which I guess is more like a feminine subsect of people, but I would just buy everything from H&M and try as hard as I could to look like the other cis boys my age. I love that the clothes that cis boys wear is just tracksuits and Nikes. Yeah, I would not say that's bad advice. Obviously, if you want to pass and that's all you want to do, you probably wouldn't want to stand out from the crowd. You wouldn't want to be different. You'd want to be the same. So yeah, wearing boring old clothes that like other guys wear, I would say that's good advice. I would also say that like when you're wearing tracksuits and that kind of thing, just make sure it fits. There are certain clothes that you can wear baggy and certain ones that you can't. Sportswear, you don't really wear baggy. If you can, I would look for places that do like shorter leg. This is only if you're short. I was short. That was my whole thing. I was short and trans. Wearing tracksuits that are obviously way too long, they'll just make you look short. I would recommend looking for places that, do different length trousers. I think ASOS is quite good with that. You can put in your actual measurements. But, a lot of the time, bottoms for guys are like 32 length, which is just way too tall for me. It's way too tall for my dad. If you're specifically only looking to pass, and like this guy said, just you don't care about what you wear, prioritize the way the clothes fit rather than what's on them. For trousers specifically, make sure you wear low-waisted rather than high-waisted. It creates the illusion of having a longer torso. This is also, I would say, a good tip. Good job so far. Good job. Typically, yeah, like women have shorter torsos and longer lengths, and it's all about proportion, really. Like if somebody's walking past you on the street and they see you in the corner of their eye and they're like, this person's got a long torso, that must be a man. I know that's not how it works, but like the way we're socialized, like we pick up little things like that all the time, and if passing is not the most important thing in the world. I can't believe I've gone this long without saying it, obviously, but if you want to pass, you want to look at proportions. You want to lengthen your torso and shorter your legs. Shorten. Good advice so far. Here we have clothes not to wear. Any kind of shirt buttoned all the way to the top. Why? This is the first one that I don't get. I don't get this one. I remember the classic trans guy look, or like trans guy starter pack, would always have like button-ups. What are they called? What do Americans call them? That was a thing that like trans guys will wear a lot. Do they do that? I don't know if they do that now. I have no. I'm not old. This may be just referring to the fact that like people are like, oh well, trans guys always wear button-ups, but I don't think so. I think again it all has to do with how it fits. Like if a shirt fits you well, you're good. Maybe if it's too baggy, or if like the neck is too wide, it makes your neck look smaller, which may look more feminine. I don't know. I don't get that one. Anything cropped or with a V-neck will immediately get you clocked. This is not a picture of a V-neck. But I don't know anyone who wears V-necks. I don't wear V-necks. Yeah, maybe don't wear a V-neck. That's good advice, just in general for fashion purposes. Or anything cropped. I mean, like, obviously, like, cropped t-shirts are seen as, like, stereotypical feminine. They're seen as female. I will counter this with, I pretty much crop all my t-shirts if they're too long. Again, it's about how the t-shirts fit. If a t-shirt is, like, maybe more fitted, it can be tight around your hips, which can make your hips look bigger. So I will crop all my t-shirts because I'm short, and there is like a perfect crop, like a boxy fit t-shirt that like fits like just above the belt. Like that's where I crop it. I'm not saying I like crop t-shirts up by my nipples, by the way. But yeah, like traditionally feminine crop tops, obviously if you want to pass, like that's not the way to go. But there's nothing wrong with customizing your t-shirts cutely to make them fit you better. Next, we have hair. I feel like this is a real important one. A lot of people still say to men that they look like girls if they have long hair, if they have a ponytail, even if they have a beard. Like I've seen it happen. I feel we've not entirely gotten past that, but I guess like I have like this going on. This is long. I feel like lockdown changed everything. But again, yeah, like shorter hair are seen as traditionally masculine, so he says I would recommend getting some variation of this haircut, short at the back and sides and fading into longer at the top and front. Yeah, I mean like this is the advice that I would also give out back then. I also would probably give it out now, but also like it depends on what your face looks like. For some people, having their sides shaves can make them look like more feminine. I feel like most of the time it doesn't. I would recommend going to a barber if that's something you feel comfortable with, because they're not going to try and give you a pixie cut. I know a lot of the time that like trans guys go to get their first like trans guy haircut, they will be given a pixie cut. Going into a barber, there's no chance of you getting a pixie cut, so maybe that's more tips for you. If you want a more stylized haircut, e.g. a mullet, get a more masculine version of this haircut. Yeah. That's not bad advice. Here we have hair not to have. I feel like this would be controversial. Fluffy mullets don't help you pass at all. They will get you immediately clocked. Okay. Buzz cuts may seem like the obvious option, but only help half the time. The other half you are seen as either non-binary or gender non-conforming female. Okay, I will agree with that. A lot of the time, like, trans guys will buzz their hair cut off and find that, like, people see them more, like, in like a, like, obviously this is just perception. People will be like, oh, you're a lesbian with a buzz cut. Like, that is how a lot of people experience that kind of thing. If you have a real masculine, big old masculine, big old skull, getting a buzz cut, I'm sure that will help you pass. But if you have a smaller, tiny head, tiny little feminine pinprick head, like me, do not get a buzz cut. Jesus Christ, can you imagine me with a buzz cut? I don't want to. I never want to do that. I don't want to imagine it. I have a tiny head. I would not look big burly man. I would look tiny, feminine, skinny, little scalp. I don't know. I agree with that one. Having more hair can help mask a more feminine shaped head. It sounds ridiculous coming out of my mouth now, but like, it's true. The fluffy mullets don't help you pass at all. They'll get you immediately clocked. Again, I feel like this depends entirely on like what stage in your transition you're at. Before I started testosterone or got top surgery, I would not go anywhere near a mullet. I would not ever do that just because that would make me feel dysphoric, I think. I think like, unless you have a particularly masculine face, and you're pre-transition, it's hard to kind of like pass with that. I love that it says they will get you immediately clocked. Oh, I mean, like, to be fair, like, mullets for guys, like, long hair on guys nowadays is, like, in fashion, right? Everybody I knew just had short back and sides, and now we've all got, like, funky haircuts. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily wrong about, like, the mullets, like, fluffy mullets not helping you pass, but again, like, I passed before I came out. Like, I didn't start testosterone, I hadn't had top surgery, I hadn't come out to anybody, and I would get mistaken for a guy. And I had a big old fluffy head of hair. So again, it just depends on how you look, your face shape, how the hair is styled. Mine was just messy. I like messy hair. That's always been my thing. I didn't have problems passing with that, but then, like, I got lucky, I guess. Hair not to have. Oh. Oh. Okay, so this was initially, this is why I got sent this. Like, I didn't just happen upon this. I got sent, like, Storm Ryan sent me this and then commented, I'm telling on you. I know his hair is iconic. Thank you so much. Oh, what? I have iconic hair. Thank you. But please do not use pictures of Noahfinnce as your hair reference. Coming from experience. I'm sorry, Jack. I'm sorry for whatever happened to you, my guy. I don't agree with this. I don't know. Like, none of these haircuts are particularly feminine. When I had hair like this, I was being misgendered, like, as a guy. Like, when I was a girl, people would look at me with this haircut and be like, you're a guy. Before I came out on the internet as well, I got away with people thinking I was a biological guy, because I had all these pics of me when I was a child looking like a boy. The next slide is a victim of Noahfinnce reference photo. Yeah, so what they've given you there is not what you asked for. I disagree with this. I think you could use me as a hair reference if you want to. Just make sure that your barber or hairdresser is actually giving you the haircut you've asked for, because this haircut this guy got it's not the same haircut. This guy got like an undercut, and also like he didn't have enough layers. I feel like layers and fluffiness is kind of what saved me. My hair was also thicker. This is more like this is like a kind of comb over. Yeah, you did not get what you asked for. Next we have voice training. For voice training, I didn't use any videos, but over about a year, I changed where I spoke from. To have a more feminine voice, you speak from higher in your throat, whereas a more masculine voice is deeper in your throat. I also changed my speech mannerisms, e.g. picking up phrases cis guys use and speaking in more of a Cockney accent. Oh, bless. Voice training. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, that's correct. Women tend to speak from higher up in their throat, whereas, you know, guys, like, their voice drops, so, like, the way they speak changes, but it's from lower down, it's from their chest. Just on a tangent, I speak so different in these videos than how I do in real life. Watch me on a podcast, my voice is so much deeper.
Maybe I'll not speak about that much.
I'm up here squeaking the whole time. But yes, I agree. If you're able to, and it's something you want to do, I would say don't be too obsessed with it. Like, don't be down on yourself if you can't speak lower than you can speak. It's not going to come all at once. But yeah, if you get like a note like that, oh my god, what happened? But yeah, I guess just practice speaking from lower down. Try and like resonate the vibrations here. Picking up phrases cis guys use and speaking in more of a Cockney accent. Okay, like this guy is British, obviously. If you're from Alabama, what was the accent? That's not how you pronounce. Oh my god. If you're from California, like, don't start speaking in a Cockney accent. I feel like he didn't mean like actual Cockney, because Cockney's like, hey governor, all right governor, the dog's bollocks today. Yeah, I don't think that makes you appear more masculine. I feel like maybe this is just like looking at like how guys in your class interact with each other rather than how girls in your class interact with each other. I would do that from when I was like, for as young as I can remember, I was doing that. I was always trying to just like be one of the guys. I would get in trouble, like actual trouble at school, for not being ladylike. When I was like 10, there was this specific teacher that didn't like the way that I spoke, even though I spoke exactly the same as the guys spoke. What I will say is, like, please do not try and force this kind of stuff. Like, you will make yourself miserable spending every minute of your day worrying about every single feminine thing you do. And I understand entirely how that feels, because I did exactly that. But you know, like, it will dig at you. It will eat at you. It will eat you up. Also, if you need other people's help, I would recommend using voice training videos from actual trans guys rather than voice actors, as a lot of the time voice actors teach you how to have a less realistic / more childish masculine voice. I don't know anything about that. I didn't use voice training videos. I just try to speak more like a guy. Oh no, we have how you sit / stand. Oh, this just makes me sad. Like, I get it, because this is exactly like what I did. I was so insecure about how I sat and how I stood and like crossing my legs and that kind of thing. Do not internalize too much of this, I would say, because that's just dangerous. You're just gonna explode. Try to sit with your legs more open and wide. Yes, this means manspreading. Yeah, I guess manspreading makes you come across more manly. And generally try to make yourself bigger, and when standing, try to stand with confidence and without leaning to one side. Yeah, again, like, these are things that, like, people without even thinking about it pick up as, like, masculine or feminine. I also just don't want to be giving out advice for people to try and change who they are. Even if the advice is to, like, make them feel more comfortable or make them pass more, I feel like the most important thing with this kind of thing is that you should do things to make yourself feel more comfortable, and I know that how other people perceive you, and then perceiving you, like, as the gender that you are, will make you more comfortable. But also, if you spend every waking minute worrying about what other people think about you, you're not gonna be happy. You're not gonna be happy at all. Okay, so we got to the end. And remember, even if you don't pass or you choose to dress / act more feminine, you're still as much of a guy as anyone else. Okay, hell yeah. That's advice. That's advice. I would say there's some pretty solid advice in there. Again, like, please do not internalize everything on this thread. I don't want people to, you know, pick up new insecurities, because that's what I did. I wish we lived in a world where, you know, passing wasn't that important to people. Unfortunately, it is very important for people. I do just want to end this video saying that for people that, you know, are unable to pass as well as they'd like, I think the most important thing that you can do is, you know, try as best as you can to surround yourself with people that this kind of thing doesn't matter with. Obviously, dysphoria is a thing, and a lot of the time there's nothing you can really do about it. But finding your community, finding your people is the best thing that you can do for yourself. You shouldn't, as a person in the world, feel the need to change who you are in fear of other people not seeing you the way that you want them to see you. If you can, you should try and find people that doesn't matter to. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Have a good day, don't. See you later, losers. Goodbye.